What's up guys, Manime here, and today I want to talk about evil characters in anime. And yes, I mean the let's take over the world kind of evil. These characters are more commonly referred to as antagonists, and today I want to talk about the power that these characters wield and how to spot a good evil character from a bad one. This is Manime Matt, and this is the power of evil characters in anime. So let's start off with what makes a character evil. I know generally it's pretty easy to just say that someone who wants to take over the world or infinite money, but let's talk seriously about this because these are bad villains. I think a lot of media suffers heavily from these bad villains who are flat and uninteresting, that lack any normal motivation which would generally make them likable or at least relatable. But yet Hollywood, anime, and as I said, most forms of media seem to gravitate towards villains who want to destroy the earth because they've been betrayed or hurt or some other stupid bullshit. What these villains are lacking are real motivations, which I think is a great segue into what I want to start this video off with. Good villains in anime have motives. They have a real reason to why they are doing what they are doing. They are not just evil for the sake of being evil. Most good villains see themselves as the good guys. They're usually only perceived as evil because they are trying to accomplish some sort of goal through their own ideals, which differ heavily from the protagonist. So I want to talk about one of the best villains in anime, and that is Father from FMA Brotherhood. Although his motives are unclear at first, it's soon revealed that the only reason he's causing all this chaos and destruction is to be free. The reason he's forced into doing this is because he essentially has no choice. He can either stay in the cage for what seems like all of existence, or he can try his hardest to break free of his cage. When he finally meets God and God is telling him that he shouldn't have done what he had done, his reply is essentially, well, what the fuck did you want me to do? His motives make sense. He didn't kill all these people for the fun of it, he did it for a reason. He's not evil just to be evil, he's evil because he has no choice, which leaves the audience with a serious question. Is what he did wrong? Another one of my favorite examples of an excellent villain is Kyubey from Madoka Magica. Once again, he has a motivation. Basically, he comes to Earth to harvest emotions in exchange for energy to power the rest of the universe. He explains things from a utilitarian philosophy and has valid reasoning. In exchange for the destruction of the Earth, he basically gains an infinite power supply for the rest of the universe and all other life forms. What he is doing makes sense from his utilitarian perspective. For those of you who don't know what a utilitarian philosophy is, utilitarianism is the idea that a moral worth of an action is solely determined by its contribution to the overall unity in maximizing happiness or pleasure as summed among all people. Essentially, in the classic trolley situation, you would always save the higher number of people no matter what the situation was. I think this is another component to making an excellent villain, giving them some sort of moral code for them to follow, like the Joker's nihilism or Kagetane's social Darwinism. Another way to make villains great is just to make them memorable. But so many of these villains are the classic cookie-cutter characters with these same terrible plans. Making a villain memorable isn't particularly hard, yet a lot of anime puts so little thought into their antagonists that it hurts. So let's compare two antagonists from two different anime. Kuro Mado from Tokyo Ghoul and Loki from Divine Gate. Visually speaking, as character designs, they both pass in that sense. But let's break them down a little bit further. Mado is sadistic and despises ghouls. This is because he believes them to only be pretending to be human-like for the sake of their survival, giving us a decent motive. Loki betrays King Arthur because he wants to make King Arthur king. Okay, so that one's a little bit diluted and makes no sense. Alright, well, how about philosophies? Mado is clearly a believer in the more racial side of social Darwinism, considering he counts ghouls as lesser beings than humans, and shows it. He is shown as a good, nice man to other humans, but once ghouls are involved, he doesn't even flinch while killing them. So then what about Loki? Well, Loki is a trickster god and is always jumping sides, except that he doesn't actually jump any sides and he's unnaturally loyal to one side and never really follows any of the philosophies he preaches. Starting to see a clear difference in quality of our villains. But there is one last thing I do want to cover that separates these two even further. Mado specializes in defeating our protagonist, while Loki is just kind of a god who never has any fears of losing to begin with. So what do I mean by that? The final large argument to making an excellent villain is making them excel at whatever our protagonist's weakness is. In Tokyo Ghoul, Kin is a weak character mentally, whereas Kuro Mado specializes in breaking people's minds. He is known as one of the most feared doves due to his absolutely terrifying cutthroat morality. He doesn't even blink an eye while killing children as long as they are ghouls. This is all in contrast to our main character Kin, who is weak mentally and has trouble getting over his pre-established morals of back when he was a human. Loki doesn't have this. As a matter of fact, he has the exact opposite problem. King Arthur knows exactly what Loki is doing and can plan around it, basically rendering him to a point of never even being a threat in the first place, making him essentially a joke of a villain. If you guys are curious on what I consider as excellent villains, I recommend obviously Kuromata from Tokyo Ghoul, Kyubey from Madoka Magica, Father from FMA Brotherhood, Kagetane from Black Bullet, Esdeath from Akame ga Kill, and Gilgamesh from Fate Zero. Fate Stay Night, it's a little bit of a weaker version of Gilgamesh. I think Fate Zero is definitely where Gilgamesh's writing kind of comes into play. There are countless other ones I'm leaving out for the sake of time, but let me know down in the comments what some of your favorite villains are. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like this kind of content, please consider supporting me on Patreon. I make 2 anime related videos a week. As usual, make sure you guys share, like, comment, and subscribe. This is Manime Matt. Make sure you guys stay man, go watch that goddamn anime!